today's revision on Chapter 1, Lesson number 1. Boys, just listen that you have one chapter for the final exam, Term 1, and that chapter is Cellular Energy. So, what we are going to do today is we are going to revise Lesson number 1. So, Lesson number 1, page number 30. So, I want you to take your textbook to page number 30. And from this page, according to the end of term, that's Heikel, you will be getting one question from this page. Page number 30, you get one question. So let's see what is the possibilities of getting a question. Okay, let's look at it. Now look at it. So this page has this content. Okay, so one of the important like a definition that's highlighted here is about energy. Okay, so now what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work, and all the cellular activities in your body require energy. So don't forget this. All cellular activities require energy. And what is energy? It is the ability to do work. Okay, the second thing that's important, it's very important, it's about thermodynamics. So what is thermodynamics? Let's look at the definition of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is the study of the flow and transformation of energy in the universe. So suppose if they ask you, what is the study of flow and transformation of energy in the universe called as? So remember, you should be writing thermodynamics. Okay, there are two laws of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics. So what does the first law state? The first law of thermodynamics is the law of conservation of energy. It states that energy can be converted from one form to another, but it cannot be created nor destroyed. Hope it is clear. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. So this is called the first law of thermodynamics. It is also called the law of conservation of energy. This is the first law. Let's look at the second law. The second law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be converted without the laws of usable energy. Okay, now this is the second law of thermodynamics. And here's something that you need to always look at. Entropy. See, this is important. Now, what is entropy? Entropy is unusable energy. Can you see here? The amount of unusable energy is called as entropy. And what happens to unusable energy? Unusable energy increases. Remember, the entropy increases. Unusable energy increases, but look at this. But usable energy decreases. So remember this words, huh? Unusable energy is entropy. So entropy increases, but the usable energy decreases. This is important. Okay, now based on this information, let's look at some of the questions. Now, which law of thermodynamics states that energy can be converted from one form to another? You know that it is the first law of thermodynamics. Okay, now let's go to the second question. The second law of thermodynamics is also referred to as entropy increases. You know that entropy increases, and that is this detail is given in the second law of thermodynamics. Okay, now let's go to the third question. What is entropy? Entropy is the measure of unusable energy. So the answer is B. It's the measure of unusable energy. Okay, now let's go to question number 4. Okay, what does question number 4 says? See, the stored energy in a food converting from chemical to mechanical energy. That means it is changing from one form of energy to another form of energy. So, converting from one form to another form of energy is called as the first law of thermodynamics. So first law of thermodynamics, it states that energy cannot be destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. Okay. Okay, is it clear? Now let's move on to the next page. Page number 32. Let's go to page number 32. So I told you from page number 30, you get one question. Now from this page, page number 32, you will get two questions for the exam. Two questions. And definitely this is one. They will give you this picture and look, observe very carefully at this picture. Sunlight. So the plant absorbs sunlight. Okay. And the plant are eaten by small organisms here. Watch carefully. Okay, small organisms here. And these small organisms are eaten by another organism. Okay, another organism. So this is called the ladybug. This is the ladybug. And these small orange organisms are called the aphids. Aphids. Okay, here it's written. Aphids and ladybugs. So remember, both the aphid and ladybug, they both are called as heterotrophs. Heterotrophs. But what about plants? Plants are called as autotrophs. Now the question is, why are plants called as autotrophs? They are called autotrophs because they make their own food. See the word here? They make their own food. They make their own food with the help of sunlight. So they are called as autotrophs. Okay, but these two, the aphids and ladybug, they cannot make food. They will get the food from this one. Aphid gets the food from the plant, and the ladybug will get the food from aphids. They eat aphid and get their food. So they are called as heterotrophs. Okay. So keep this in mind. And then the next thing that you have to remember, autotrophs. Very, very important question. This question will be there in your exam. Autotrophs. There are two types of autotrophs. One is called photoautotrophs. And the next one is called chemoautotrophs. Chemoautotrophs. So photoautotrophs, as you know, this is depending on light. This is depending on light. And chemoautotrophs, it depends on inorganic substance. You know, in chemistry, you study inorganic substance. And one of the example given in your textbook is hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide. Okay, so where it is given, let's see. See, look here. Hydrogen sulfide. See, hydrogen sulfide as a source. So chemoautotrophs use inorganic substances such as hydrogen sulfide as a source of energy. But photoautotrophs, they use light energy as the source of energy. So keep in mind, there are two types of autotrophs, chemoautotrophs and photoautotrophs. Photoautotrophs use light energy, chemoautotrophs use hydrogen sulfide. Okay, now come back here. Let's also finish this. There are two types of reactions, you can say. Two types of reactions or processes. That's better. Processes. One is called photosynthesis and another one is called respiration. Now, what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is anabolic. What is photosynthesis? Anabolic. What is respiration? Respiration is catabolic. Now, what is the difference between anabolic and catabolic? See, catabolic means breaking down. Let me take another pen. 1 minute. Okay, let me take it. Okay, so catabolic means broken down. See, cellular respiration is a catabolic pathway. So in which the organic molecules are broken down. So if you have something, a bigger molecule, if the bigger molecules are broken down to pieces, then this is called as catabolic reaction. Example, cellular respiration. But when it comes to photosynthesis is anabolic reaction or anabolic pathway. What happens here? Smaller substances join together to form a larger molecule. So this is called anabolic pathway, and that is photosynthesis. Catabolic is broken down. That means broken down. Anabolic means building up or making. Okay, building up on it. Now look carefully at this picture. Okay, so this is very important here because this picture will be there in your exam. Okay, I'm cutting down all this, I'm erasing all this, so you will know what is going to be there. Okay, let's see. Now what's here? Look carefully. So the same picture they will give you and they will ask you, maybe they will put a box here and ask, what is this? What is the process that should be here in this box? So remember, CO2, smaller molecule, H2O, smaller molecule, they are forming something big. Okay, see, something big. What is that big? Glucose and oxygen. See, they are forming something big. So here in this box, it is photosynthesis or anabolic pathway. Now come back here. Glucose is big already. It's big. And this big molecule, glucose, is broken down to smaller molecules, carbon dioxide and water. So this pathway is catabolic pathway, and that is cellular respiration. So keep this in mind. So at the top, you should write photosynthesis, and this is taking place by autotrophs. And down you can write cellular respiration. It is taking place in heterotrophs. And remember, look at the arrow mark, everything. And here is the input of sunlight. Input of sunlight. Don't forget, you have to memorize this picture because they can put a box here and ask you what is this? What is this? In your exam. So you must be very, very careful. Okay, now let's look at some of the question here. See, organisms that make their own food, we know that the organisms that make their own food are called as autotrophs. Okay, now let's go down to the next question. A plant such as the one that is showed in the diagram converts light energy from sun. So what type of organism is specified here? Light energy. It is not inorganic ion, it is light energy from the sun. So it is called as photoautotrophs because photoautotrophs use light as a source of energy. Okay, next, organism that ingest food. Okay, ingest food from another organism such as aphids and ladybugs. Okay, organism that ingest food to obtain energy such as aphids and ladybug. What are they called as? They are called as heterotrophs because plants come under autotrophs. Plants are also called producers. Remember, plants are also called producer because they make food. They use light, so they are also called photoautotrophs. So the only answer will be heterotrophs. Heterotrophs depend on another organisms for food. Okay, next one you see, the eighth question, chemoautotrophs. So chemoautotrophs use chemicals. What chemicals? Chemicals such as inorganic ions. What is the name? What is the inorganic ion? It is H2S, hydrogen sulfide. They use hydrogen sulfide, so H2S. Okay, question number 9. Photosynthesis is described as which type of metabolic pathway? I told you in photosynthesis, smaller molecules like CO2 plus H2O will combine together to form C6H12O6 plus O2. You see? These are smaller molecules. They combine to form larger molecules. So what type of process is this? This is called anabolic pathway. See, smaller molecules join together to form a larger molecule is anabolic pathway. Question number 10. In photosynthesis, light energy is converted to chemical energy by converting which reactants? Okay, so here, so what happens in photosynthesis? CO2 plus H2O. So that's what is here. Carbon dioxide plus water. Carbon dioxide plus water. So these two are called reactants. And after the arrow mark, we call it as products. So now in this question, they're asking you reactants. See, converting which reactants? So the reactants are carbon dioxide and water. Okay, next. Question number 11. Cellular respiration is described as which type of metabolic pathway? Of course, you know it is catabolic pathway because what happens here? C6H12O6, the bigger molecule, and oxygen gives CO2 plus H2O. You see, this is a large molecule. C6H12O6 is a large molecule. Now, this large molecule is broken down to smaller molecules, carbon dioxide and water. So this is catabolic pathway. Which statement correctly describes the overall function of cellular respiration? So what happens in cellular respiration? This is organic molecules are broken down to release energy. Okay, so we consume glucose to break it down and to release energy. Okay, the 13th question. The reactants of photosynthesis is carbon dioxide and water are the products of what? Okay, they are the product of cellular respiration. So from where you get this, you look here, see here, go back to this page. Yes, you see, this is cellular respiration, right? So you see CO2 plus H2O. This is the reactants, okay, of photosynthesis. And when you look at this, these are the products of cellular respiration. This is the reactant of photosynthesis, and CO2 plus H2O are the products of cellular respiration. So don't forget. So that's how this you get this answer. All right. Next question. In cellular respiration, oxygen is broken down. Oxygen used to break down organic molecules, producing the final product. So what is the final product? Carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so in cellular respiration, oxygen is used to break organic molecules. So where is that here? You see, this is respiration. So glucose plus oxygen. So with the help of oxygen, the glucose is broken down to carbon dioxide and water. So here you get carbon dioxide and water. That's how you get this answer, carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so that is the end of this page number 32. And from this, from this concept, you get two questions. Okay, two questions will be there from this concept. Don't forget, H2S, hydrogen sulfide, is chemo autotrophs. Don't forget because it's important. Okay, the plant uses hydrogen sulfide, so it is called chemoautotroph. Now, next thing, this picture is very, very important. You should know all the parts of this picture. See here, can you see here? 1, 2, 3. What is this? This is called phosphate. How many phosphate? 1, 2, 3. So it is called triphosphate group. Okay, so this is adenine, this is ribose, and this is triphosphate group. That is why this molecule, the full molecule, is called as adenosine triphosphate. Tri means three, triphosphate. So when you add water to adenosine triphosphate, what will happen? They will break down to adenosine. See, adenosine. What happened to one phosphate? One phosphate is removed. So it is broken down to adenosine diphosphate. Di means 2-phosphate. Here you have 3-phosphate. Here you have 2-phosphate. That is the difference. So adenosine triphosphate will have 3-phosphate group. Adenosine diphosphate will have 2-phosphate group, and 1-phosphate is removed. Okay, so remember, when can ATP be converted to ADP? By addition of water. When you add water, it will be converted. Okay, so when they are converted, they release energy. Then when will the ADP be converted to ATP? When you or when the molecule take energy. When the molecule take energy, they convert it to ATP. When the molecule release energy, they get converted to ADP. So don't forget, see the word here. The breakdown of ATP releases energy. So here is ATP. ATP is getting converted to ADP. This is breakdown. The breakdown of ATP releases energy for powering the cellular activities in the organisms. So let's fill this up. What is this molecule? This is called ATP. What is here? When you add water, H2O, they get converted to a molecule called ADP and release energy. And when energy is available, they take in energy and convert ADP to ATP. Okay, so don't forget. So let's see, let's look at the questions from here. Okay, the molecule used to power cellular activities in organism is called as ATP. Okay, let's go to next question. The breakdown of ATP to release energy involves the removal of phosphate group. So one P is getting removed. So that is phosphate group. The molecule ADP, how many phosphate group they have? They have two phosphate groups. The process of converting ADP back to ATP requires the input of energy. Okay, so now this is the end of lesson number 1. Lesson number 1, and we will meet you very shortly on lesson number 2. Okay, guys, what I want you to do, I want you to go through this video. Okay, look at this question. And yesterday in WhatsApp, I sent you some questions from the past paper. I want you to go back and see all those questions. You will understand it. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's meet in lesson number 2. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.